So, we've been thinking about this, writing about this for about the past 3 years. I think it's been happening a little longer than that, as Alice said. And, you talk to folks who say, attribution does this, mixed modeling does this, so why not put them together? Oh yeah, let's just put them together. So eventually you kind of get curious, what does it mean to just put them together? And I would say, from a very technical perspective, this all falls into a certain class of mathematical problems. It's called SDSS. SDSS? Stop doing stupid shit. So here's one method, right? I mean, we were talking about the demise of Last Click a few moments ago, and maybe it's not demised enough yet. So we reached out to 4 well-respected companies, innovators, leaders in the industry. They're not the only innovators and leaders, so don't send those cards and letters in, but 4 top companies you'll recognize. So Marketing Evolution said, here's what we do. Now, they have a technique that works at the consumer level. That's always been their methodology, and they have response curves that they call SERFs, spend to impact response functions, SERFs, right? So what they do is they have a big database, as other modeling companies do, and they will take a response curve from a mixed model and then match it with more detailed, more granular response functions that will add up to the aggregate one, so that the aggregate finding, the market level finding, kind of controls what's happening, determines the ROI for let's say the medium as a whole, but the individual more granular response functions give you more the granularity and the fast pace that Alice was speaking of, that can plug into programmatic and things like that. Newstar has you'll see some similarities and you'll see some differences, right? So Newstar combines their mix, MTA, and their TV attribution capabilities into a single customer-based model, and a key to that is their proprietary identity data. So they have to be able to knit those people, all the data for those people together and represent, many facets of the same person. They use a hierarchical Bayesian approach, so that model operates on a couple of different levels, so that they can look at things at, let's say, a market level and a consumer level within an integrated model that comes up with one answer. Usually a handy thing. Analytic Partners has a iterative, always a fun word to say, adaptive modeling system. So again, they'll start at a market level with a hierarchical model. My Bayes might be something else, and look at multiple KPIs. So again, the aggregate level data rules. That's where you have the comprehensive measure of the full marketing mix, accurate, reliable, trustworthy ROI measurement. But then looking at response curves at the person or individual consumer level, there's an iterative process to match one to the other. So again, the market level rules, but we get the advantage of consumer level data, so we get a one truth, a holistic view, but you get incrementality. Thinking about what was discussed in the previous session, you get that incrementality, you get the interactions between the media, the synergies aren't lost as would happen when you're looking at a single medium at a time in a attribution approach. And then finally, Convertro has a single model. It's one giant logit model that operates at the market level and at the consumer level, one big integrated model. You can kind of see a very simplistic version of the math there. But it's nasty to solve this thing. It's gigantic, and it has taken some real clever breakthroughs to make this work. So they all have their challenges, but the biggest challenge is that getting the modeling right is really, really important, but it doesn't solve all the problems. In fact, in some ways, because modeling just got more complicated, it may be harder to understand. It may be a little less transparent, so we have to guard against that and be as open as we can. It doesn't solve the data problems. It ameliorates them by putting the market level in control, but you still have the challenges of potential faulty data at a consumer level, so it's not fixing the data problems. We still need to fix those. But then you have the bigger issues. So you can have a cross-platform model that has a whole mix, and it can optimize all the different channels in the mix, but do you have a cross-platform organization? What happens when the model says, well, I think we should move some money from digital into television. Well, wait, those are 2 separate agencies. You've got a battle on your hands. So that's not going to be the simplest thing. And the other thing is there's inertia. So we talk to a lot of advertisers, and sometimes they say, yeah, I look at my mix, and that tells me ROI, and then I use the attribution models to fix my tactics. But, Alice already pointed out there are a number of flaws in that approach. So that inertia is not really a good solution either. So why bother to even go to all this effort. Again, Alice said this already, but I really want to underscore one more point. Optimizing marketing performance. That's why we're talking about doing this. And that requires comparable, integrated measurement of the impact of every marketing investment. That's a lot to ask, but it will happen, and it does happen with an integrated model. So, fasten your seatbelts. We're still in the middle of this journey, and it's going to be worth it when we get there. Thank you.